Well, President Obama making a play for the Latino vote, his re-election campaign launching its first Spanish language ads in some key swing states. Latinos make up 9% of the total electorate, but in the delegate-rich battleground state of Florida, they make up 35% of the vote. Mitt Romney has called on the GOP to come up with an alternative to the DREAM Act for young immigrants brought to the U.S. illegally by their parents. Marco Rubio, the Republican senator from Florida, who has been talked about as a possible VP pick, is working on such a plan. So could it help get Republicans some important votes? Joining us now, Bettina Inclan is director of the RNC's Hispanic Outreach Campaign. Alicia Menendez is senior editor at Politic365.com. And both of them are co-hosts of Power Play on Sirius XM satellite radio. Good to see you both. Nice to speak with you. And Bettina, let me start with you, because at a fundraising event last weekend, Mitt Romney telling supporters that the way the polls look right now, where Latino voters are overwhelmingly going Democratic, that it could spell doom for the GOP. These were his words, doom. How does the Republican Party turn that around?
I think what Mitt Romney is saying, and what all the candidates are saying, even us here at the Republican National Committee, is the Hispanic voters are a very important swing vote in this upcoming election. And that's why we at the RNC have launched a national Hispanic outreach program and recently named 6 state directors in some battleground states to make sure that we're engaging Hispanic voters all across the country.
Alicia, I realize I'm asking a liberal this question, but do you agree with the governor's assessment that this is really a doomsday scenario for Republicans?
The governor definitely is on point, and he's also the one who has created this problem. All during the primary, he tacked to the right on immigration, saying that he would veto the DREAM Act, saying that he wanted immigrants to self-deport, also saying other things like he would have not voted for the nomination of Sonia Sotomayor, the first Latina to be named to the Supreme Court. So first he needs to acknowledge all of that. Then he needs to begin to distance himself from people like Chris Kobach, architect of SB 1070 and other anti-immigrant legislation. He calls him a supporter. Kobach calls himself an advisor. And then Romney and the GOP need to find a positive message that they can sell to Latinos. And that third point may be the hardest of all.
Bettina, what about that? I mean, I know that the governor and a lot of other people have talked about the Latino voting, the Latino community as not being a single issue voting bloc, that immigration is not going to be the sole reason that they go to the polls or the sole thing that they think about when they vote. But how do they get beyond some of those issues regarding immigration, Sonia Sotomayor, and some of those other things that we just heard about from Alicia?
Well, the immigration is an important issue. It's something we're talking about, and we want to have a real discussion. There's lots of candidates and officials that are talking about solutions to the immigration. But we want to talk about it. This president has done nothing on immigration. He promised that he would pass immigration reform in his first year. Even with control of Congress, he did nothing. 3 years later, we're still waiting. But you're right, it's not single-issue voters. The #1 issue, though, is the economy and jobs. And we're going to be talking about how Obama has failed the Hispanic community in this entire country. Hispanic unemployment is high. The record number of Hispanic children are living in poverty. And I find it very interesting that of all of Obama's ads that he just released, none of them talks about the economy. Is because this president has no economic record to talk about.
Alicia, immigration. Go ahead, Alicia.
Bettina talks about children living in poverty, and yet it's the GOP that right now is offering budgetary cuts that would cut spending for SNAP, which we all know as food stamps. Hispanics disproportionately covered under SNAP. So we have Republicans potentially thrusting those Hispanics who are living in poverty into a situation where they will be put off the food rolls until they get down to $2,000 in their savings.
Real quick, respond, please. We're about out of time.
Well, a lot of those Hispanics wouldn't have to have those programs if they had more jobs. If this president had provided more jobs and did the economic recovery that he promised, that wouldn't be a problem. But so many Hispanics don't have jobs. So many Americans don't have jobs. And this president has failed everyone.
And with Republicans, now they won't have food on top of that.
Ladies, we have to leave it there. Bettina Inclan, Alicia Menendez, you can hear them on Sirius XM. Their show is called Power Play. We'll have to have you back again real soon.
Thank you.
We look forward to that. Yeah. They were great. Well, the most wanted man in